Hey everyone, minna-sama, konnichiwa, boku no channelへyokoso. Today I'm here to talk about Paris, Texas from 1984 by Wim Wenders. Now I suppose it's fitting that I'm walking aimlessly through a land unknown to me while talking about this movie, because that's just what Travis, the main character, does at the start of Paris, Texas. And in a way, the rest of the movie is about us trying to reconcile and understand this fact. By starting the movie off in this sort of symbolic fashion, it has a fable quality to it. And like a fable, the movie's through line is very clear and simple, but it becomes rich through the unending mystery of Travis and Venner's portrayal of America. Firstly, I gotta say that I love the three-part structure to this movie. The first part centers around Walt, Travis's brother, finding Travis and trying to bring him back to civilization. Travis remains mute for much of this first section and appears to be completely clueless, having something resembling amnesia or another medical condition. We soon learn about the son he left behind, who now lives with Walt, and eventually about his wife, whose location is unknown. The second part, in some ways my favorite part, has Travis staying with Walt, Walt's wife called Anne, and his son, Hunter. It's fascinating to see Travis trying to basically pick up his life where it left off, which of course isn't that easy. In the third part, Travis and Hunter go on a journey to find their wife and mother, Jane. This is the longest section in the movie, centering around two extended scenes of Travis visiting the peep show booth that they find Jane working in. Taking the almost travelogue feel of Wenders' movies he made in Germany a decade before, like Alice in the Cities and Kings of the Road, this structure, with this crystal clear narrative and character development, feels like a true adventure, an adventure of Travis searching for himself. For me, this movie's biggest haunting mystery is Travis's condition in the first part. An explanation is given near the end of the movie of how Travis left his family and set off wandering the landscape, but there's no explanation about if he truly had any sort of medical condition, and when he's been doing the 4 years he's been gone, and why he at least pretended to be mute at the beginning. He does make a reference in his final dialogue scene about wanting to be, quote, without language, but that's frankly not good enough for me, especially not if we're to believe he carried on not speaking at all for 4 years. Some may disagree, but I view the opening section as completely ambiguous, which makes it all the more satisfying to see Travis basically becoming a person again as the film goes on. The heart of the second section is the relationship between Travis and Hunter. Hunter, as to be expected, is very reluctant towards accepting Travis as his father, who he doesn't remember. Three beautifully symmetrical scenes illustrate his evolution. In the first scene, Travis offers to walk Hunter home from school, but Hunter decides to ride home with his friend instead. Next, in what might be the best scene in the movie, the family watches footage of a vacation they all took, which makes Hunter sort of realize that Travis really is his father, at last creating a bond. And finally, Hunter chooses to walk home with Travis, making their bond complete. It's a great piece of writing to set up these scenes like that, which goes to the reason why I probably prefer the second act. This mysterious man from the first part has people who care about him after all, including not to mention the unbelievably kind Anne, and he's able to essentially rejoin his previous self. The third and final section follows Travis and Hunter as they go off to find Jane, and here's where Vender's penchant for shooting road movies comes a little back into focus, although finding her is probably a little too easy and quick for my tastes. But that's not the point of this section, as most of it revolves around this peep show booth where Jane works. Travis's first interaction with Jane has an iconic image of Nastasia Kinski in this fake room that seems to be a perfect emblem of the whole movie. It's a great shot, with the compact room, red and orange colors, and her pink sweater and lips directly addressing the camera. It's a powerful reflection of Travis's mind, I think. It's like a perfect ideal of his wife and perhaps memory of their past life, but it's clearly hauntingly artificial. The second time they meet is when Travis reveals to us what led to him leaving his family, and Jane slowly realizing that it's Travis all along. This scene lasts about 20 minutes, and it's when the movie pretty much comes full circle. During this scene, and really the whole movie, it's hard not to admire Harry Dean Stanton. By 1984, he'd been an actor for a long time, mostly in small and supporting roles, but I'm pretty sure this was his first leading role, and he's perfectly cast. The character evolved greatly from the beginning of the movie to the end, and Stanton makes it all convincing. Sure, the age difference between him and Nastasia Kinski is a bit much, but he's so good that it's easy to forget about. My favorite moments include where Walt tells Travis about Hunter for the first time. This is the first time Travis is confronted with information about the family he left behind, and even though he doesn't speak, we get to see him react. Keeping to this theme, I already mentioned that the home video scene might be the best in the movie. It's the first glimpse we get of Jane, it's a turning point in Travis and Hunter's relationship, and we finally see evidence that this was a happy family in the past. In my mind, the movie revolves around this scene. Of course, the next scene has gotta be the walk home from school the second time. Hunter doesn't just acknowledge Travis's existence, but clearly likes him here as they mess around and have fun. The fact that they walked almost the entire way on opposite sides of the street is also an interesting touch. Clearly, the two booth scenes are iconic and really involving, but for my final favorite scene, I'm going with the scene at the bank, where Travis and Hunter track down Jane. I really like the architecture of the bank and how they use cheap walkie talkies to communicate. I always like it when movies have some sort of homegrown, do it yourself solving of a mystery, such as this. In the end, what I love about Paris, Texas is its arc. It's such a simple through line, but it's imbued with lots of quiet emotion, almost a fable of a man who starts off lost but becomes found. This movie's become a fairly popular classic over the years, I think, which makes sense because I think it's clearly Wim Wenders' most accessible movie, out of the ones I've seen, of course. It's nearly 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like it at all. It's one of my 1,000 favorite movies. Thanks for watching my video. Goshoujo makoto ni arigatou gozaimasu. Have you seen Paris, Texas? Please let me know what you think in the comments. I think of all of my favorite movies as friends, and I think of my audience as friends too.